everyone, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back, and thank you for supporting me. I'm Coretta. So y'all, I am back with another DTF sublimation hat. Normally, the DTF sublimation hat only work on light color fabrics, but in this tutorial, I will show you how to use the DTF sublimation hat on dark fabric. You want to see how I do it? Come on, let's get started. To complete this project, I will be using Yamation DTF transfer film size A4. I will be using Yamation DTF powder adhesive white medium. I am going to be using Caesar Easy Weed HTV. I have a piece of copy paper that I'm going to use to tape my film to. And I'm also going to be using a Gildan's cotton dark t-shirt. I will leave a link to all of the items in the description of the video. Now, we all know that sublimation ink is transparent and will not show on dark colors because it does not print any white. So there's a hack where we use white HTV and clear HTV to sublimate onto a dark shirt. But with the DTF sublimation hack, we are only going to use the white HTV. As you can see, I already have my image on the canvas. I found this image on Etsy about 2.5 years ago. I recently saw it again on Facebook and thought I would use it for this tutorial. Now, the first thing I want to do is size my design. I'm going to size the design about 8 inches wide proportionately. So, selecting my image, making sure that the aspect ratio is locked, I am going to change the width to 8 inches and then I'm going to hit enter. So the size of our image now is 8 inches wide and it's 7.921 inches in height. Next, I'm going to duplicate the image. This will be the cut file to cut in Cricut Design Space. And even though the image is just a square and I can cut it out by hand, I am going to show you how to create your cut file for Cricut. So to duplicate, I'm going to right click on my image and then I'm going to select duplicate. Then I'm going to move the duplicate copy over here. And then I'm going to change the color. To change the color, I'm going to make sure that my duplicate image is selected. And on the right toolbar, I'm going to go to my fill panel, which is the third icon. And I am going to select a shade of green. So now I have my print file and I have my cut file. And to ensure that the printed image aligns with the cut image, you always want to create both your printed image and your cut image in the same program. So to be able to cut this image with Cricut, I need to take this duplicate image, the cut file, and I need to save it as an SVG. To save the cut image as an SVG, I'm going to make sure that the cut image is selected. I'm going to go to File on the top menu. I'm going to select Save Selection, and I'm going to select Save to Hard Drive. Now, I'm going to save this in my Downloads folder, and I'm going to change the name. So I'm going to change the name to DTF Sublimation Hack. You can change your name to whatever you would like to change it to. Next, I'm going to change my Save As type to SVG, and then I'm going to select OK. Now I am going to go into Cricut so that I can cut the file. So here in Cricut Design Space, I have the cut file on the canvas. Now, we want to note that sometimes the design does not come into Design Space at the correct size, so you may need to resize it. So let's go check. According to Silhouette Studio, the cut image should be sized at 8.001 and the height should be 7.921. Back here in Design Space, I am going to select my cut image and I'm going to check the width and the height. So according to Cricut, the width of this cut file is 8.001, which is correct, and the height is 7.921, and that is correct also. Now that the design is sized correctly, I am ready to cut. And so I'm going to select Make It on the top right menu. Here you can see the cut image on the color coordinated mat. For the sake of this tutorial, I used green, but I will be cutting with white HTV. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to mirror the image. And to mirror the image, I'm going to select the mirror option and I'm going to turn it green. Next, I will hit continue in the bottom right corner. Here on the material screen, you will select the type of material you are going to be cutting. For the Caesar Easy Weed, I am going to select Everyday Iron-On Vinyl. I am going to place the white HTV on the mat with the shiny side down. So I'm going to cut the image and come back so that I can print the printed image. So I have the white HTV cut. Next, I am going to print the design. To print the design, I'm going to make sure that my image is on the canvas inside of my print borders. And then I am going to go to the top to File on the top menu. I'm going to select Print. I am going to select my sublimation printer. Next, I am going to select Preferences. And here I am going to select one of my Adhesive sublimation presets for 8.5 by 11. So making sure that the paper is 8.5 by 11, I'm going to change my paper type to Photo Paper Glossy. I'm going to change my quality to high. I'm also going to go to More Options, and I'm going to make sure that the mirror image option is selected, and I'm going to turn off the high speed. Next, I am going to go to Maintenance, and I am going to select Extended Settings, and I am going to change the density to -5. And I am changing the density to -5 because this is going to prevent roller marks on the DTF film. And then I'm going to select OK. I'm going to select OK again. And then I am going to select Print. Now, these print settings are settings that I got from Crafting with Delonda. She has a video on how to set up your print settings so that you do not get any roller marks. I will leave a link to that video down below. Also, before I hit print, it should be noted that I have not loaded my printer yet, so I will select print once I get my printer loaded. In my previous attempts to do the DTF sublimation hack, I had an issue with the film going through my printer. And so to get the film to go through my printer, I had to tape a piece of copy paper to the rear of the film. And so to tape them together, I am going to remove the DTF film from the package. So as you can see here, it states that this is the print side. So the film is in the packet and the print side is facing this way. And so I am going to make sure that when I remove the film from the packet, that I am going to leave the front facing forward, because I know that this is the print size. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to place this on the top of the piece of copy paper. And what I'm going to do is I am just going to position this on the copy paper so that it is even at the top. And then I am going to add a piece of tape here and here, and a piece of tape here and here, so that when the paper and the film go through the printer, it won't pull just one sheet, but it will pull both of the sheets. And so I'm going to take and put some painter's tape here, like a little bit on the front and a little bit like on the front here as well. And then I'm going to put a small piece on the side, making sure that I make contact with the film and the paper. And I'm going to also put a small piece on this side as well. And I'm doing this so that the paper, when it goes through the printer, that it won't pull just the paper. It will pull the paper and the film. And so once I have everything taped down, I'm going to lift it up, and then I'm just going to bend this part over the back and bend this part over the side. And the same for this side over here. Let me get this one taken care of. And so now when I put the paper in the printer, it should pull both pages. After the image is printed, I am going to add the adhesive powder to the ink while it is still wet. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to sprinkle a generous amount of the powder over the ink, making sure that I completely cover it. And then what I'm going to do is I am just going to roll the powder over the ink, making sure to get every part of the image covered. And so I'm just going to roll it. And once I feel that I have the entire image covered, I am just going to shake off the excess. I'm going to kind of shake it off a little bit because you want to get all the excess powder off of it. So I'm just kind of tapping the paper to get the excess powder off of it. And that should be good. And so once I have the image completely covered and I have the excess powder taken off of it, the next thing I want to do is I am going to cure the adhesive powder to the ink. And to cure it, I'm going to place this DTF film under the heat press for about a minute or until the powder is fully cured. I'm going to have my heat press set at 400 degrees and I will hover my top platen over the heat press with the film under it without touching the powder so that it can crystallize. So as you can see, the image is cured because the sublimation ink is a little brighter and the crystals, the adhesive powder has turned to like crystals on the image. So I'm not exactly sure if you can see it or not. But what I want to do now is I am going to cure this again for a second time. And so again, I am going to just pour the adhesive powder on the film, making sure I cover it up again. I'm going to pour the adhesive powder on the film. And I am going to coat it and cure it for a second time. Now that I have cured my image for a second time, now I am going to prep my shirt. So I have my shirt prepped. I've lint rolled it and I've pre-pressed it to get the moisture out of it. And so now I am going to lay my white HTV down on the shirt, making sure that it's lined up correctly. And I am going to press this for 300 degrees for 6 seconds. And I'm only pressing it for that short amount of time because I only want to tack it down. So the Caesar Easy Weed is a warm peel. So I am just going to peel. Ooh, hot. I need some heat gloves. Next, I am going to place my design on top of the HTV, making sure that I line everything up. So I want to make sure I line everything up with the HTV. And I am going to put a couple of pieces of heat tape on it, just so that it doesn't move. And for safety precautions to protect my heat press, I am going to put a piece of parchment paper over top of the design. And I am going to press this at 325 degrees for 15 seconds. Remember, the ink was already activated during the curing process, so we don't need to press this at 300 degrees. We don't need to press this at 400 degrees for 60 seconds. I hope it worked. I hope it worked. I hope it worked. So what I'm going to do is I am going to, since this is a cold peel, I am going to come back when this cools down so that we can peel it. Okay, so the image is cooled down now, and so we're going to peel it. I hope it came out right. So far, so good. I got a little peek, but I'm not going to take it off until we see it together. Oh my God, this is so pretty. This is so pretty. Nice and vibrant. I like it. It's really thin. Again, it's really thin. It doesn't feel heavy, but it feels, it's not shiny, but it just, I don't know. It looks nice though. I like it. What do you think? All right, guys, that's all for now. I hope that you were able to follow along with my process. Here is the final results of our shirt. And overall, I like the shirt. I like the vibrancy of the color. I like the way the material feels on the shirt. It's not heavy or anything like that. And it has a vintage look to it. So if you like this video and would like to see more, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and consider subscribing to my channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I will respond back. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video.